Checking connection. Hello, everybody loves Raymond. Welcome to Sunday. Let's get this other piece of apparatus in the way. Hello, Bobby. Good to see everybody this Sunday. Hello, Gil. Loyal watchers. I am excited to answer questions this week of all of our fans. Hello, Windlepoons. All right, I'm going to plug in my external mic, and hopefully this should work. With Andy Kindler. Sorry, there you go. I hope everybody enjoyed the visit last week with Andy Kindler, who was a great guest, a very entertaining person, obviously. And I can't wait to have him back as soon as possible and continue some of the stories, because we didn't have a chance even to get into his episodes. And that was kind of, hello, Serbia. Yeah. So why does Ray Romano not have a social media account? He just doesn't. So I've talked to Ray many times about having getting a social media account just to help him promote. He is a very private person, and he just won't be doing it. So I've tried to convince him just to help. For example, Ray still does, before COVID, appearances in Las Vegas. And just to have that awareness is always helpful to fill out the room, because it's a 1,200-seat theater. And that's, as we know, we all like to have a full house when you're performing. Hello from New York City. Did Ray really want a pet monkey? I don't know. When Ray does appear, we'll ask him. I don't remember him really wanting a pet monkey. And by the way, for those of you that are, hello, Leo. In Toronto, for those of you that are signing on to the live or have missed lives in the past, you can always just scroll back and watch them. Obviously, you can't ask questions, and that's the joy and beauty of doing a live, is you get to ask questions of me, and I will answer them as best I can. And also of our guests. So somebody asked, did we talk about the can opener yet? No. Hopefully next week, but we'll see. Teresa, welcome back. How is Ray doing since his mom passed away? Ray is doing okay. His mother was not in great shape for a long time, so it was not unexpected. Who ate all those cakes? Yes, so that's a good question. Who ate all those cakes that Marie made? Now, I'm going to get, I found out the cakes are sourced from a place in Burbank. I don't have the recipe of the cakes, but I will get the recipe if I can, because it's a commercial bakery. They would make it special for Everybody Loves Raymond, and they would add extra fudge to it. So I would eat them, and everybody else would eat them, which reminds me, do you remember I posted 3 pictures of Patty and Doris at the craft services? And it's a great series that I came across where Doris is eating fruit, and Patty comes up and takes a big slice of cake. It's actually not that big when you see it, but it looks funny because Patty, she's wearing a shirt where her sleeves are too long. I think it was in style. And so she looks a little emaciated, and she eats this giant piece of cake and then disappears, and you see Doris following her away. Now, the cakes, the chocolate cakes that you would see made, at the end of the scene, they would take the extra cakes and they would put them on that table. Now, for those of you that have watched this channel a lot, you know that the craft services was right behind the living room. So if you were sitting on Ray and Deborah's couch and you just did a 180 and walked through the wall, the table is right there. And so throughout the day, you would be walking and there would be food out on the table. So those cakes were so delicious that we would anxiously await for those scenes to end, and then we would dig into those cakes. And that sequence that I took with Patty and Doris, that was just me hanging out, I think, after the table read. So the table read kicks off the week, and then when it's done, there's kind of a relaxation, like, okay, here we go. And I walked back into that area, and then and you can see, because they each, if you look at the picture closely, they each have a script with a colored cover on it. Now, again, for those of you that really have been following this channel, you know that the yellow scripts means it's shoot day. And the, I want to say, blue scripts are the day before shoot day. For the table read day, you have white pages, and when you finish a script, if it's your script, if it says written by Tom Caltabiano, the writer's assistant will say, Tom, what color do you want your script to be? Now, I personally could care less about what color it was, so I would just say red or whatever it is. So in my collection of Raymond stuff, I think I've mentioned I have all these scripts, every iteration of every script from every episode, from the props department and the wardrobe department. And so those scripts, when I go to the table read script copy, which I'll bring some out, I'll show you, and it'll have a colored cover and white inside pages. So it's very hard to tell what the script is from the color of the cover, because the table reads colors were all over the map. But you definitely know that a yellow script is shoot night, and I think the blue script is the day before. And when you see, if you go back and look through my photos, if you see all of the cast standing around holding a blue script, you know, chances are they're not in makeup, they're just looking casual, and they're learning their lines still. If you see them holding, and the show business term or the acting term is off book, means I know the script. So are you off book is just the phrase for do you know your lines. And so by show day, that's why you don't really see the actors holding yellow scripts, but you'll see everybody watching. You'll see Phil holding a yellow script. You'll see all the people coming up holding a yellow script. Yes, will Patty be on live? Yes, I hope so. I want to invite Patty and her husband, David, at the same time. That would be interesting to me. Hello from Florida. Hello, Florida. How many storylines were based on cast and crew's real-life experience? So they're almost all the writer's experiences, and almost every episode is some germ of an initial real-life event. Some of them are very true to life, like the toaster episode that happened to Phil and the Fruit of the Month episode that happened to Phil. I wrote an episode, the Young Girl episode, which I'll talk about when I have Tucker on again. That happened to me in real life. Yes, hello, Mama Sally Mack. Where are you, Mama Sally Mack? When will Gianni be on? Okay, so John Manfrolotti, who lives about, I'm going to say 500 meters from me, he does not, he is also not on Instagram. So Ray is not on Instagram. Now, if you go back and look at my interview with Brad Garrett, I did it from Ray's house, which was not my plan. But Johnny and Ray, if you go back to that, Johnny and Ray come into the room, and I start talking to them. And you'll see, let's see. Yes, Andy was great, Leo. I will have Andy back. It was very, very knowledgeable. Yes, was Marie's food actually good? Yeah, well, Marie's food was the part of the props department. I just watched Robert Rodeo. Was this based on the real-life incident like many of the stories are? Yes, Karen. Hello, Karen. Wait, are you in Plymouth, England, I think? Is that right? So Robert's Rodeo, for those of you that haven't seen it, Robert gets gored in the upper thigh by a bull. So if you look back in, and maybe it'll be on the internet, there was an illegal rodeo that was busted in Queens, New York, I want to say. And so that was the genesis for that episode. And in a way that Phil and Ray were very good at, the show starts off with this kind of cartoony thing and then takes a much deeper turn. So, yes, so that was based on the real life thing. All right, Leo, Tom, when the show is in hiatus and you're writing extra episode, when is theme for the season worked on? So, excellent question, Leo. Okay, so let's just say that a regular season is 22 episodes. Ray and Phil, but Phil will say, okay, we're at the end of season 5, and those of you watching will know better than me by memory. He has to decide what is, they call it, the story arc. So when he knew that Robert was going to marry Amy, that gave us a story arc where we know, okay, he has to propose, there's going to be a wedding, and there's going to be some other episodes in between then servicing that portion of the storyline. So when you're pitching stories on a normal show, you would come in June 1st and you would pitch stories. You go, okay, I have this idea, like on Friends, for example, or 99% of the shows. What about this idea? What about this idea? Forever was Raymond, because we knew we were going to be on the air and because Phil wanted to be very well prepared. When we finished the season, we would go back and figure out, okay, what is the story arc for the next year? So some of the episodes they're standalone. So they could be in any season. They don't tie to Amy and Robert getting married or any other storyline. But you know that you have these anchor episodes that move that storyline forward. So I think that answers your question, Leo. And there, for example, if you remember when Marie stops talking to Deborah, we knew that she's going to stop talking to Deborah, and Phil knew, okay, well, we have to get them to, what is going to get them to talk again? And that was the cult episode. Hello, Gina K4574. Did I ever play golf with Ray? I have not. So I will answer this succinctly because it could be confusing. I've been with Ray playing golf numerous times in Augusta, Pebble Beach, in Las Vegas, tons of places. But I don't play golf. So what I would do is, and I will tell you this real brief story. Augusta, if any of you watch the Masters, Augusta is a very small town. And when they have the Masters, the town swells. So I'm giving you a very inside story here. The town swells. And what they do, because it's a lot of big wigs, they rent people's homes. And so Ray was playing Augusta once, and I had to film something. So Ray said, "Okay, come with me to the Masters." And in the house where Ray was staying, which in real life a judge lived there, and these people must have gotten paid an enormous amount of money because for 1 week they vacated their homes. They changed the phone. This is before cell phones were so prevalent. They changed the phone number going to the house. They would rent it, and 4 people would stay in that house. For example, The first time I went, it was Marcus Allen. For those of you that are American, Marcus Allen was the MVP of a Super Bowl. He's he was with the Raiders and then I think Kansas City, but famous sports star. Les Moonves, who's the president of was the president of CBS at the time. Me, Ray, and I believe one other executive, all in the house, all roommates all of a sudden. So all of a sudden, I am roommates with Marcus Allen and the president of CBS. It's a very, very surreal experience. So since I always have my camera with me, and I'll go back even more, affiliates, television affiliates are very, very important to TV, to network TV. So you wouldn't know this necessarily, but there's an affiliate in Ohio. There's an affiliate in New York. There's an affiliate in all over the country are affiliates. These are so important to the network that the network rolls out the red carpet for them. So much so that one time there was an affiliate event for Everett Brothers Raymond syndication, and the house band, the band that was playing for these 300 affiliates, was Fleetwood Mac. So that tells you it costs a little bit of money. So at the Masters, they roll out the red carpet for affiliates and bigwigs. And 200 people get to play at the Masters in Augusta the day after the Masters is finished. So the Masters finishes Sunday. On Monday morning, the VIPs get to play on Augusta, which is one of the Augusta National Golf Course is one of the, I think that's what it's called, one of the hardest golf courses to get into and to become a member of because you can't really buy your way in. So Marcus Allen, we're eating dinner at an affiliates thing where there's all these VIPs. And Marcus Allen says to Ray, boy, I can't believe I'm playing here. I wish I could get a picture taken. So Ray says, oh, well, Tom takes pictures. And I had just gotten a new film camera, which I brought with me. And so Ray said, all right, let's see if we can get Tom onto the golf course. So Ray, the security is so tight that they look under cars with mirrors. They pop your trunk. So you can't sneak someone on to Augusta. So the next day, however we did it, we got me onto the golf course, and I walked all 18 holes with Ray, with Marcus Allen, and I would go back as often as Ray went back, and I would walk the golf course. Sometimes it was Kevin James and Ray. Sometimes it was Craig T. Nelson and Ray, etc. So that's how I ended up going on all these golf courses with Ray. And I'll post, if you want to see some pictures, I will post some pictures of me on the golf course. So I hope you enjoyed that story, and I hope that makes sense. And if you watch, I don't know if it's on YouTube, but Ray and I were guests on Craig Ferguson. We were promoting a documentary that Ray and I did. So I'm a guest and Ray is a guest. And Ray was talking about, Augusta being the mecca of golf, and Craig Ferguson said, I have to correct you because St. Andrews is actually the birthplace of golf. Was Robert's love life based on real life? It has so many ups and downs through each series. Windlepoons, great question. So the fly eating episode was based 100% on Ray's brother's real life dating story. And so a lot of them were based on Ray's brothers. So Ray's brother did get divorced, so that was very close. And then we did a couple of other episodes that were based on different people's experiences. I hate to say it, a few of mine in there. All right, let's see. Mama Sally Mack. How many episodes did I write? I don't know. Maybe 27, maybe, somewhere in there, 25, 20, something like that. I wrote a lot of episodes with Ray. Early on, we wrote a lot of them, and later. Roberts, these are great questions, by the way. Yeah, how did you set the kitchen on fire without it getting out of control? So that was great question. King me. How did you set the kitchen on fire with that? Yeah. So there was a special effects guy, and they had a line, a gas line that fed that fire. So standing off screen was a guy in a very sophisticated way, but basically with an on-off switch that would cut the gas flow into that area. There were also firemen all around. I think I have some pictures of behind the scenes when we were shooting that. So that's how. It was a special effects guy, and it took a lot. Hello, Karen. You must have been one of the youngest writers. True. Tom, was Andy or Johnny married on the show? That's a great question, Leo. I don't think we established that either one of them were married. Now, in real life, John Manfrotati is not married, and Andy is married. So I think, I don't know. People, if you were watching, the people watching might know. I don't think we ever mentioned, I think in our mind, Johnny was single, and Andy probably also single, but could have been married. My husband wants to know, in the Italy episode, did Ray's brother date a Stefania? Yes, like in She's the One. So Teresa, Stefania was, did not really. No, I think that was Phil's. So no, he didn't. Ray's brother in real life didn't meet a super attractive Italian woman. Phil, I think, had that idea because they were going to Italy to, and I think if you remember also, Phil loves Italy in real life, but in the beginning, in the first season, where there's Angelina the waitress. So Phil loves The Godfather, and you can hear he, quote, the lightning bolt strikes. Peter talks about that. So the Stefania thing was, and we'll ask Phil, Teresa, remind me when Phil comes on again, to ask him that. But I know for sure that Ray's real brother, Richard, did not date an attractive woman from Italy. So you just watched the new show Home Economics and noticed Tucker Cawley is a writer on it. I really enjoy the show, but I am partial because I love Topher Grace. Okay, awesome. Dogs and Butterfly. Nice. Hello, Serbia again. Can't wait to see I Hate That Parker. Great. Teresa, yes, I think, let me see. I will see if, let's see. I will see if David Hunt can join. That's Patty Heaton's real-life husband. Yes, so the wrong Aunt Serena was based on Ray in real life. His wife's aunt lived in his basement for a while in Queens, New York. And when I was helping Ray do something that we kind of call Rayify ultimately, which is go through the script and make it more in Ray's language, Ray's verbiage, I would say. His aunt, his wife's aunt from Bissaquino, was living with Ray and his wife in Queens. Now, I visited her in Bissaquino, Sicily, which, if you look it up on a map, it's a really small town, one town south of Corleone on the map. So yes, that Serena was inspired, and I think, what is her name in real life? It's Tia Serena. I think that's what it is as well. Yes, watch. Yes, Princess Christine. I question if you are a real princess. If you are, I apologize. Will Brad Garrett be on again? I'm sure someday Brad will visit again. Was the episode The Angry Family also based on a real-life event? Such a hilarious episode. Noah Zvokos, is that right, Noah? So yes, The Angry Family is taken directly from Phil Rosenthal's life, and I think he thanks his son, Ben, at the end. He says special thanks, I think, to Ben Rosenthal, because they, Phil and his family, went to Ben's school, and he started reading The Angry Family, and Phil was mortified by that. Gina Tay perfume, yes, Tina. Always makes me smile, yes. If you're a child of the 60s or 70s, you know Gina Tay. Yes, Barbara, yes, only in Queens for the bullfight, yeah. Gina Tay, Karen, is a real perfume. Yes, in the rodeo. Yes, it was. Okay, I see. I'm trying to catch up with questions. Karen, you don't have Gina Tay. I don't know if Gina Tay, it is still available, but it was a big lower end perfume in the 70s. Don't ask me why I know that. Yes, can you call yourself an idiot, princess? Great quote, yes. Now, what do you guys think? Because we got a lot of feedback where they thought Deborah was being too mean to Ray. We would get mail. You know, this is pre-internet, writing a bunch of feedback. But our feeling was Deborah was so, she loved Ray. It was clear. But she was also, her life was so tortured by Ray's family. Deborah's life was so tortured by Ray's family that you just feel like she could have gone so much more over the top and been angry. Russell, yes, Chris Elliott, so funny in the Hacky Do episode. Yes, that Paul Rubens in the Hacky Do episode, right? You saw, all right, Princess Christine, I'm reading these blindly. You saw Ray in the 90s in Las Vegas doing his stand-up. Had no idea who he was, but he was so funny. Then, once the show started, I was like, it's that comedian. Yes, that is a great experience to see Ray live, and then all of a sudden he's a TV show and realize. Now, I'll tell you a funny thing. Ray and I were doing stand-up in, it's not really upstate New York. It's Westchester, New York. And it was a convention of auto parts dealers. And there was about, there might have been 800 people there. And when Ray and I got there was no spotlight. There was no light to separate you. And when you're doing stand-up, you want to be in the spotlight, and so people can see your facial expressions. And you also separate you from the audience, just in that, okay, it feels like a show. So we get to this giant convention area, and where's the spotlight? Where's the stage? There is no stage. There is no spotlight. So Ray and I talked to the AV guy of the hotel where it was, and we're like, do you have a spotlight? Oh, yeah, we have a spotlight somewhere, but it's very bright. So Ray and I walk with this guy to a closet, and we roll out this giant spotlight, and it goes in the back of the room, and we turn it on, and, of course, it's phenomenal. It's great. So at that gig, I'm relating to Princess who saw Ray in the 90s. At that gig, when I finished doing my stand-up, I was introducing Ray. And I said, so this must have been 1993 or 94. And I go, ladies and gentlemen, your next comedian, your headliner comedian, he has appeared at this comedy club, and he recently appeared on The Tonight Show with Johnny Carson. Ray, who's walking up through the audience, of course, nobody knows who he is because he's not famous. When I say has appeared on The Tonight Show with Johnny Carson, Ray hears an audience member go, yeah, right. As if a guy who was on Carson would ever be doing an auto parts convention up in Westchester, New York. So there was a bit of skepticism. So you want to tap that guy on the shoulder and say, he really was on Carson, and now he is in a giant TV show and in Scorsese movies, etc. All right, let's scroll through these questions. When did you get the photograph bug? Bobby asked. Photography bug, yes. I have been taking pictures since high school, and I took a road trip from New Jersey to California my junior year of high school. I drove to California and back, and was taking pictures then. How long did it take to put the family photo album together? It has so much content. Yes, Windlepoons. Thank you. Oh, can we get Kevin James on? Yes, I'm reaching for my coffee, by the way, which, for those of you, this is an official Johnny Carson mug. If you want to, whoa, you see Johnny. So this was made in Burbank, and my friend Tony DeSena, who we had on the show, he got me this mug, which is a rare mug. There we go. So I enjoy drinking from the Johnny Carson mug. Yes, Kevin James. I will see if Kevin can do it at one time. Love that you do this every weekend. Did you find out about the can opener? Family Mom Forever. As soon as Phil and Monica can do it, maybe they can do it next week, we will talk about the can opener episode. And I will give you ample heads up because I will post a lot of photos. Yes, when Amy and Marie called him, yes, that was an episode that I wrote when he dated Amy. Marie called him Little Gianni. Yes, sorry, I'm going back. Kevin James would be great. We are watching lots of King Queens. Yes, Kevin James is brilliantly funny. He is a very, 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 very funny man. Italy were your favorite episodes, Barbara? Yes, I wish we could have done it from Italy a lot more. I see over the weekend Phil posted his actual wedding dance with Monica. Robert and Monica's wedding dance was inspired by real life. Yes. Yes, Susie. Theirs was too much Buonasera by Louis Prima. That's what it was. Who wrote the janitor episode with Joel Miller of BB99? Hilarious, crafted, cringe humor. I think that was Heidi Bloom 19. If I remember correctly, that was a Lou Schneider episode. And the theme of that, it was kind of a modern family. So rather than doing Guess Who's Coming to Dinner type of thing where it's a different race, this was just a different social standing. And it originally was going to be a garbage man, but we couldn't do garbage man because one of Ray's relatives in real life is a garbage man, which he didn't want to get into trouble. And so, yes, that was a very funny episode, the janitor episode, with Joel Miller. Yes. I have to lean like this because there's a little bit of glare. Do I speak Italian? Un po'. Yeah, a little bit. Let's see. Love all the Italian, Barbara. Yes. Of course, I am in Real Princess in Your Own Mind. Yes, great. Let's see. So this. Yes, he does thank Ben. Teresa, thank you for that. Is Stefania really Italian? Family mom forever. I think Alex Meneses is Greek, Mexican, and something else. The next time she's on, by the way, she's on the new Walker show, which next time she's on, we'll talk to her about that, which I hope you play. Who played the young Raymond and Robert on the anniversary of when So Sis Little Red. Hello, Sis Little Red. Who played young Raymond? I would have to look it up, which means you can look it up on IMDb. I don't know who they were, but they weren't relatives of Ray. They were cast. Nettie Pawprint. Yes, she was mean. And do we not like that Patty was mean or Deborah was mean? There was hello, Kristen Curran. There was a lot in the media. I have to read questions because when this gets replayed, the questions go away. There was a lot in the media then that sitcoms are always making fun of the men and husbands, probably where the criticisms came from for Deborah being mean, but you could always tell she loved Ray. Kristen, excellent comment. Excellent comment. That is true. And the truth is, in real life, having spent time with Ray and Phil and their respective wives, there is a lot of frustration, I think, with men in certain ways dropping the ball, even though in Ray's case and Phil's case, even though they're providing for a very good living, there's still a frustration. What happened to the character Leo on the episode 1? Was he changed to another character like Andy? So, Leo, excellent question again. So, Leo, I can't remember if he got cast in something else, but if he was going to be replaced, it was more with Tom McGowan. So Tom McGowan went to college with Phil at Hofstra, and Tom McGowan, who played Bernie, was also on Frasier and on Broadway. He's an unbelievably good actor and a very good friend of Phil, but even if they weren't friends, he's a great asset to the show. So I don't remember if Leo if the actor who played Leo was cast in something else. So just to explain a little, when you shoot a pilot, everything happens in Hollywood in network between, let's say, realistically, February and April, meaning they cast shows, they shoot shows. Everything has to get done so that when they decide in May what the fall schedule is, they have everything locked up. So a lot of times an actor is in something called second position, meaning okay, Jennifer Aniston is going to be on another show. They want her for a show called Friends, but that Friends show is in second position, meaning if Jennifer's prime show goes, you don't see her on Friends. So that happens a lot. There's this clamoring in this little window called pilot season of trying to tie up every actor and actress. Now, I don't know if the actor who played Leo, I don't know if he got cast in something else, and we'll have to ask, let's put a pin in that. We'll ask Phil, because he might remember. But that's what happened. I know he wasn't fired, or he wasn't not good, or something like that. So, yes, Family Mom Forever. My grandparents were just like Frank Free. One of my favorites, one are Phil and Monica. As soon as I finish this live, I will text Phil and Monica and see if they can join at length. Also, I'll talk to Susan Van Allen, who wrote that episode with Aaron Shore, I believe. I think if Ray and yourself did another stand-up show, myself and Mrs. Poons would be flying from UK very fast. Hazmat suits ready for safe travel. Very funny. Yes. Ray, yes, I will keep you posted. Why did Peter switch actors? Paul Rubens was not available, and we had to shoot the show. He was not going to be available that week. Over the weekend, yes. Over the weekend, Phil posted the actual wedding dance. Yeah, assume this is the inspiration for Robert and Amy's dance. You are absolutely correct. Susie.J_. Hello, John. At so 1950. How did you decide to have Terry Bradshaw in the Office episode? Okay, so I will tell you a very funny little story about that. So Terry Bradshaw is in, I don't even remember which episode. It's season 1. And is it Working Late again? Or you guys, somebody, Teresa will know. Somebody will know the episode. I think, are they in a doctor? Yeah, they're in a doctor's office. When we wrote that episode, I can't remember who wrote it, but when in the writer's room, Phil, they're saying, okay, who can we get? And I believe it was Lou Schneider was talking to another writer friend of his, and he said, you're going to wind up with Terry Bradshaw. And he said, well, we're going to pick other professional football players as potentially, not that there's anything wrong with Terry Bradshaw, who, for those of you in the United Kingdom or in Australia, Terry Bradshaw is an iconic quarterback of the Pittsburgh Steelers. And I want to say, did he win 4 Super Bowls, which before, it might have been 3, it might have been 4. Before Tom Brady won all the Super Bowls, that was the standing, nobody was going to top that. And so we ended up using Terry Bradshaw, who was great, who was fine, but and I don't know why people, here's another thing too. Just because you're a professional athlete doesn't mean you can act. So I think Terry Bradshaw, really did, very well. Did Ray or Phil's, that's so funny. The holy crap thing is such a big thing. Let me ask if I think Phil may have made that up, because Phil's father doesn't say it, and Ray's father, who I spent a decent amount of time, I don't remember him saying it. Now, Ray's father in real life did smell the young kids and go, "I'm sucking in that youth." That is directly from Ray's father. Okay, for those of you who yes, just joining, I'm Tom Caltabiano, and I was a writer on Everett Raymond for all 9 years. I was friends with Ray before the show. I'm friends with him after the show, and I'm friends with Phil, etc. Let's see. Who and how are the number of episodes determined this season? Does the network decide based on money? Leo, another great question. So 22... so first of all, you're physically, how many episodes can you do? So in the days of The Honeymooners and I Love Lucy, there was no, there had not been a lot of TV. So almost any storyline you thought of had not been done before. Okay? So that's a little bit of a challenge. Not that they weren't great, but you don't have to worry about that. Nowadays, it's like, okay, well, they did that on Seinfeld. They did that on Community. They did, you have to make these very specific episodes. Then you can only shoot so quickly. Sorry. You can only write so quickly. Writing is the great bottleneck of making a show. So that's why if you watch Phil's documentary, which I can't recommend enough, Exporting Raymond, they are making the series in Russia using the scripts. Now, they could shoot 60 in a year, 70 in a year, and I don't remember the amount they do shoot in a year, but the creative of figuring out the story is the bottleneck. That's why if you look at famous movie writers, you know, you can see a director has directed, let's say, 80 films, but there is no writer that has written 80 films because the writing is the hard, slow part, the writing of a good episode. So that's the bottleneck. But the network determines how many episodes they want. Now, one year we did 26 episodes because the show was so popular. And the network would have, if it's not too crazy expensive, they would go, can you do 30 episodes, 40 episodes? But there's, when we shoot the show, there's a 3 weeks of working and then 1 week of hiatus where the actors are off. We are writing, but it gives us a chance to, you know, reset and be able to have the show run in a smooth way. So ultimately, it is the network's decision how many episodes that they are going to make. I Read Ray, Barbara. Barbara writes, I Read Ray is making a new show with Laurie Metcalf about a blue-collar working set in Queens. Are you part of it? So, Barbara, that is a movie that Ray wrote and is directing. So I am not part of it in any professional way. No, unfortunately, I'm doing my own project, and because of COVID, even if I wanted to visit the set and take photos, I can't even go there to do that. And recently, I was at the finale of Mom, the TV series Mom. I don't know if you have it in the UK or Australia. And nobody is allowed on the set. It's very weird, meaning network executives that I know, Warner Brothers executives that I know, assistants to the stars, none of them are on the set. Whereas usually for a final episode of something, it's the most popular episode of all time. And in the finale of Mom, there was a skeleton attendance of only key essential people. And I was just there taking pictures, but that was very hard to even do. All right. Deborah was not mean. She had to keep order in the house. I believe I agree with you, family mom, forever. Yes, Deborah's reactions are directly related to Alice Cramden's. Very good. Ooh, let me scroll ahead. Wow, I am missing a lot of questions, and we're going to run over time. Hello, Heidi. I'm going to go right to the end and work back up. Have you ever gone with web series as a spinoff for a character? Do writers of sitcoms do that, or that is left to new and upcoming writers? You can't really do anything with characters established on a show. So, Karen, you don't get Mom in the UK, okay? DW, Tom, can you wear a darker shirt next time? I can't read comments. They're blending in. Okay, how about this? How about I lean like this? Does that help? All right. I'll button my jacket. Maybe that'll help. Mom, yes, saved Joy fully. Mom's a great show. Frank often mentioned the Korean War. Is that based on Ray's real dad during the war? Leo, another great question. Ray's father in real life was on a submarine in World War II. Phil Rosenthal's father in real life was in the Korean War in the Army. If I remember correctly, we can ask. Did any of the writers, Barbara writes, did any of the writers make any last-minute changes the day that certain episode was filmed? If so, how did the actors respond to that? Barbara, great question. No is the answer. So there were no last-minute changes other than specific small line changes that went through the machine, which means through Phil, because everything is coordinated by the last day. So when that script is ready for the last day, every cameraman, the switcher. The switcher is a person who sits in a room, and I just found some great pictures of everybody that worked on the show in their work post. The switcher sits in a room with 4 different monitors, and she, in our case, it was a woman, she would pick which TV, which camera is fed to the TV that is over the live audience. So her job was very important. So she had to go through the script and be like, okay, at this line, I go to camera A. At this line, I go to camera B. At this line, I go to camera X. If all of a sudden you switched a whole bunch of lines the day of, you're really making it hard for a lot of people. So by the time you've had 5 days of a table read, a rehearsal, rehearsal with cameras, etc., you've had every iteration. So by the time you get to show night, there are no giant changes. There might be 1 or 2 line changes, but that's about it. Okay. Michelle Figgins. Is that correct, Michelle? Was the checkbook episode based on a real life story? Was it based on a real life story? I wrote the checkbook episode. Yes, that was based on a real life story where Ray Romano in real life made a fake savings book. This is public knowledge. He made a fake savings book. So Ray's wife and Ray worked in a bank. That's where they met. And Ray decided he was going to and we wrote about it, and he talks about it. He might have used some of the money in the account, so he made a fake savings passbook, savings book. And so the book physically would say, oh, I have, we have $15,000 in there. But in real life, there wasn't $15,000. So that was based on that real life story. And Phil was, when I wrote that episode, Phil was very instrumental in saying, look, money is boring to people. It doesn't, yes, some people love talking about money, but on a sitcom, so let's get to the point where we know that Ray is going to screw up his checkbook. Okay. Did the kids get anything from the set? You know what? That's a great question. Family Moms Forever. I'll have to ask Madeline if she comes on again. Love Brad on Single Parents 2. Sad they canceled it. Says SQ88. Whatever happened to Marie's sculpture? As far as I know, there are 2 sculptures. I think, did I post a picture of me standing next to the sculpture? Marie, Doris, in real life, had one of the sculptures, and I think perhaps our Donna Stamps, who was set, I've posted a picture of Donna, I think she might have the other one, but I'm not sure. Paper Doll Pioneers. Where is that name from, Paper Doll Pioneers? I was just a kid when ELR aired, but as somebody who married into a New York Italian family, this show and family are totally and completely accurate, and watching Deborah cope is like therapy. Okay, Paper Doll Pioneers. Are you not Italian? Because I think that also is a very big factor in that, especially if you didn't grow up in an Italian family. Yes. Peter's episode with the tablets for his foot was hilarious. Anyone own that experience? Geez, I don't remember. Tablets for his foot. Interesting. What episode was that? Heidi Bloom, 19. Deborah was, now I'm reading these questions backwards so I don't miss any. Let me scroll up again. Did Raymond's real life in the show? Yes, one royal, S-R-O-U-R. That's a tough one to pronounce. Ray's real wife was in The Angry Family. She's in the background. You can see some of the photos there. They were also in the high school reunion show where you can see Bob Odenkirk, who was Better Call Saul later on. You can see her and Ray's other brother, who was not the policeman, also in that high school reunion episode, which somebody might know, Teresa might know, or Leo, the name of that episode, the official name of that episode. So, Yes, Lost, great. The pills. What happens to the crew once a show ends its run? So Gina K4574. What happens to the crew once a show ends its run? So on most shows, the crew works 2 shows, meaning the camera crew comes in for 2 days on Everybody's Raymond, and Hollywood, they've figured out the system. So some shows, let's say, shoot Friday, which means you have the cameraman Thursday and Friday. And some shows shoot Wednesday. So those same cameramen that worked on Raymond can work on another show Tuesday and Wednesday. So they're working basically a full week. So at the end of the series, when the series ends, there's a couple of things that happen. One, during pilot season, a lot of shows are shot, and a lot of these cameramen shoot a show during pilot season. And if that show gets picked up, then, for example, the department who handled that show, so let's say the DP, the director of photography, he shoots a pilot. That show gets on the air. Everybody's Raymond ends. He goes to that new show, and he takes all of his cameramen that are available. So the same thing with set decorating, the same thing with casting. So they all wind up on the show, and they're usually working completely. For example, Old Christine happened after Everybody Loves Raymond, and they actually shot on stage 5 where we shot Everybody Loves Raymond. And so a lot of our crew, when I would go visit the set, a lot of our crew, our line producer, Lisa Jackson, would be there. Our props person was there, Rhonda Robinson. So the crew usually goes on to another show right away. Now, when you are working, you want a show like a Raymond or Friends to go 10 years or 2.5 Men, however many years, because that's job security. So they move on. The actors are really in the tougher position. Of course, they make more money than everyone. I wonder if we can spot the boom mic operator on another show somewhere. We'll spot him dropping it in as with ELR first season. We love spotting it. Good game. Oh, that's interesting. I'd be curious how many times you see the boom mic. And I don't know if we had the same boom operators the whole time, because we did have a little bit of turnover after the first season. It's probably, okay, Princess Christine 67. This could be a racy question. I'm going to read it live on the air. It's probably too private to talk about. But I love the show where Ray and Deborah play the sex boards game. The conversation they have after about what Deborah needs during sex was so honest and good. Yeah. Well, if it wasn't too private for network TV, it's definitely not too private for this Instagram Live. I think that episode was written by Aaron Shore, and I think that was a great episode, and it was very, it was a much deeper than the goofy sex game launch, let's say. When Frank took the pill, yes, Barbara, yes, okay, scrolling back, oh, we only have a few more minutes. Sculpture show is hysterical. That is based on real life as well. Am I a millionaire? Interesting. Ray, we used to say the actors and the creators of the show make millions, and we make hundreds and hundreds of dollars as a writer. Did Marie really cook all the food? No. Tucker Gaines. Marie did not cook any food. Not that Doris Roberts couldn't cook, but the props department was responsible for the food, because also you have to remember that every show you have to have multiple of the same food items. So when you see Deborah serving her lemon chicken, the props department has 4 other lemon chickens standing by in case they have to reset. Ray's taking a bite, reset with a brand new lemon chicken. If they have to do 6 takes, they need 6 lemon chickens. So it's a lot of food. It's a crazy amount of food. Yeah. All right. Last 2 questions, everybody. Let's see. These are such great questions. And again, if I can get, I don't know what Phil and Monica's schedule is, if I can get them on, again, we'll talk in depth about the I know we've talked about the can opener episode in the past to some degree. Yes. Teresa, yes. What about Raymond and Robert when they felt uncomfortable around Deborah. Yes, great. Oh, yes, these are all great. And I think here's a little inside tidbit. When Ray and Deborah are playing that sex game, Ray's real-life wife was saying that was one of the few times she got jealous. Not, you know, Ray's been kissing her for 10 years, all this stuff. But when Ray is staring into her eyes, that intimacy really got to her, which I thought was very interesting. Because for a man, I think you would rather kiss somebody than just stare into their eyes. But it all has to do with intimacy. All right. Last question, and if I don't answer your questions during the week, I've been extremely busy, but I think I have a little bit more time these upcoming weeks. But sometimes I know I'm going to answer them on these lives, and so I really appreciate your comments, all your comments about wishing Phil and Monica a happy anniversary, etc. Yes, a very interesting. Joanne. Yes, that was a great. The middle with Monica. Yes, great. Yeah, I think what we're learning is there's a lot of family feeling and especially when you know the behind-the-scenes stories. So when you see Monica guesting on the middle, that's great. Ray did the middle. I went to that. I'll have to dig up those photos. And remind me if I meant to post a photo and I haven't posted it. So I have all those softball pictures that I promised to post. The Ray golf pictures, a few of them, I will post. All right. Thank you very much, everybody. And I keep those questions in mind. And I'll see you next week with a guest. All right. Have a good week.